And I guess, Larry, when you think about Margaret Thatcher, we can't help but think about the combination of Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan. Right. They were such a potent couple, political couple in the world, and they were they had such a tremendous impact on the conservative way of thinking. We've got Nicholas Wapshott on the line. He wrote a book about Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, and he joins us now. Your thoughts, sir, this morning on this news that Margaret Thatcher has passed from the scene?
Well, it's a very sad day for everybody, I think. She was a considerable figure who, as you say, transformed politics not only in her own country by reintroducing a form of conservatism which really had...
Oh, did we lose Mr. Wapshott?
We'll try to reestablish that right away.
We will, yeah. I think he was about to say that it really was a new brand of conservatism that... he is back.
I'm sorry, go ahead, you're back with us now.
Okay, she also provided on the international stage a strong sense of purpose and certainty, a moral compass, if you like, who, when combined with Ronald Reagan, particularly when it came to things like confronting the Soviet Union, or indeed turning back in a more domestic sense the tyranny of the invasion of the Falklands by the Argentine forces and so on, she was a considerable figure in that sense, very strong, had a very strong moral compass, and she was a very good communicator, just like Ronald Reagan. She was able to persuade people that her new direction that she led Britain in was the right way to go, and she marked a sort of gear shift, if you like, after 30 years of quasi-socialism, social democracy in Britain. She said, enough of that. It's time that we rolled back the frontiers of the state and we gave people, individuals, much more responsibility. And she became a beacon around the world for that, and an inspiration for people in Eastern Europe, for instance, still shackled by communism. Mrs. Thatcher showed that actually it was possible to get rid of such limiting laws and regain freedom. I think she will certainly be missed because of that inspirational view. Of course, she also was the first woman prime minister in itself. Wow. Something which a lot of people, a lot of countries have never had a woman leader. And once you've had one, there's no turning back in a way.
Nicholas Wapshott, I wonder, you talk about her legacy. Of course, one of her most famous phrases was, the problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. And you look at what's happening in Western Europe, you look at what's happening here with the budget crisis in the United States of America, and then you look at, the Falklands are firing up again. You just mentioned the Falklands, and the euro is crumbling. She was very much against the United Kingdom joining with the euro. I wonder if, reflecting on her passing now and bringing up some of her philosophies and the things that she believed in, if that will actually have an impact on current affairs and the current political scene in the UK, because God knows there is no Margaret Thatcher there right now.
I know it's true, and although there's a Conservative government, it's barely Thatcherite. There are, however, some members of the government who believe that the Thatcher revolution is unfinished, and they want to continue it. So I suppose that is a lasting legacy. But I think that one of the most important things about Margaret Thatcher was she not only changed her own people, her own party, people who agreed with her, she also changed her opponents. Tony Blair, really, is a product of Mrs. Thatcher. We couldn't have had Tony Blair had we not had Mrs. Thatcher. He was someone of the Labour Party on the left side who realized that actually a lot of the stuff that he'd grown up with and grown to believe in had become irrelevant. Events had overtaken his philosophy, and Mrs. Thatcher showed that actually the introduction of the free market into all sorts of elements of life, reintroduction in Britain, was a very good idea. And so, obviously she'll be missed, but I think that actually her passing is going to be an inspiration for people, because it will cause them to look back at Mrs. Thatcher's lessons and see actually how straightforward it is. If you have a certain amount of resolution, she was a very dogged woman. She had a relatively narrow vision, and she really only wanted to achieve a small number of things, but they were all in the same direction. And that, too, is a great lesson to all politicians. Best have a very short agenda, but a very purposeful one.
Well, thank you so much for jumping on the phone very quickly after this news broke this morning. We greatly appreciate you joining us, sir. Nicholas Wapshott, who wrote the book Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, A Political Marriage.
Thank you, Mr. Wapshott.
It's a